Now, for more on our top story on the shooting down of a Russian jet by Turkey, let's go to Lukasz Kulesa. He's a research director at the European Leadership Network and joins us live here on TRT World. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us. How do you see events over the last 24 hours?
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. How do you see events over the last 24 hours affecting Turkey-Russia relations in the immediate aftermath, in the short term?
Well, this is, of course, a very dangerous and very serious situation, and we're still in the middle of it. It was tragic, but I can't say it was unexpected, because during the last months we had a number of incidents of close encounters between the NATO countries and Russia. And after the start of the Russian operation in Syria, we had this incident of violating the Turkish airspace. So it wasn't unexpected. Still, it is very serious. As we've seen, there are some very, very strong statements from Russia. There is, I think, an idea in Turkey and a number of allies of Turkey that it's time to calm down and de-escalate the tension. But I'm not sure that this is the message that is getting through to Mr. Putin and to Russia.
Well, it looked, didn't it, after events in Paris, that there was a global consensus emerging on dealing with Daesh and how to deal with a situation in Syria. How much of a setback is what happened yesterday, do you think?
Well, no, it could be the shortest anti-terrorist coalition in history, because it's right now difficult to see Russia, Turkey and other countries cooperating. Even before the events of yesterday, this coalition looked shaky, because Russia had a different definition of who are the terrorists inside Syria than the other partners in the coalition. But everybody agreed that we can somehow resolve it. We can somehow gloss over these differences. Right now, these differences are very much in the fore. So I'm afraid we would end up with different operation. One led by the US with some involvement of Turkey, and the second one, the Russians supporting the Syrian regime.
You mentioned the difference in definition of who the terrorists are in Syria there. Russia says their operation's active in different parts of Syria because they're targeting military groups from Chechnya and the Caucasus, for example. Is that something that's going to be acknowledged or accepted by Western policymakers, do you think?
Well, it was accepted in a sense that the Islamist extremist terror is a problem for Russia. And also we've seen fighters going from Russia and from a number of Central Asian republics to Syria and then planning to go back and wage jihad inside Russia. But we have to be brutally honest. The Russian intervention in Syria was not mainly about fighting Daesh. It was about securing the survival of the Assad regime and about Russia going back into the diplomatic game in the Middle East. So I think there are reasons for the Russian intervention and the Russian actions beyond the terrorist threat.
OK, thank you very much for your time, Lukasz Kulesa. Thank you for joining us here on TRT World.